Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the 60th episode of Track Help. And it's amazing that we've made it this far. It's about a year and a half ago we started doing these weekly track helps, and since then the community's grown. You guys have sent in a lot of footage and questions to review, so that's awesome to see. Today we're going to kick things off with a question for everyone in the chat, everyone in the call as well. We want to go around and ask, when do you go karting? Now I know the weather's getting better around the world. Question is, Marcel, when do you go karting?
Basically every Saturday.
Yeah, you've made it a routine.
Yeah, it's a routine, and in holidays I squeeze in some heats during the week. But Easter is closing in December, so I do an indoor in Uden in the Netherlands. That's indoor.
Yeah.
I'm really terrible at indoor, so.
Well, you adapt to the weather because when outdoor tracks may be closed, you've got some options.
Absolutely, yeah, and
yeah,
you learn some overtaking indoor as well. But I'm so slow indoor.
How about yourself, Philip? When do you go karting?
Well, there is a race and a road tax event every once in a month. So
Amazing.
I go like karting like the week before and before the race with my dad. That also is good at karting. So yeah.
That's nice. So you got a good routine going there. Welcome, Johnny. We'll put you straight on the spot. When do you go karting?
So for me, it depends. It really depends on my schedule. But in Spain, there's often kind of driver days, which are typically Wednesday, where a lot of tracks have reduced rates. So I'm trying to take a bit more advantage of this to maximize track time and budget.
Absolutely. We'll bring you over to Harsha. What's up, Harsha? Welcome to Track Help. You got a mic? Can you hear us? Be sure to.
Hello.
Hi, Harsha. When do you go karting, Harsha?
I don't go that often, like casual once in a month and all. I'm just a beginner. I'm trying to understand every aspect of this.
Absolutely. Well, you're welcome to be here, even if you're just getting started. This is the place to be. And have you got any footage or any questions that you put on the post? I don't see you have, or are you just sitting in for today's session?
No, I just came to see how it works, how to.
Excellent. Absolutely. You're welcome to be here. Just to run you through, and everyone else, we're going to go through over the next course of the hour people's footage that they've put in our pinned comment. Now, this is on first submit, first review order. We're expecting Umar to join. He's obviously put a lap of the Sharjah track. We're then going to move on to Johnny. He's put on some of his onboard footage of a different track this time. Amin also put a post out. We're still waiting on Amin. Marcel, I see you edited this post, so hopefully when we get a chance, we'll go through these highlights. Yep, Marcel.
Yeah, no worries.
Because the last time I saw this comment, I think it was only this first part you put. So
yeah,
nice
absolutely.
Nice to see you put that. And then we're going to round off with Philip, hopefully. And if we have time, then we're going to go on to Nathaniel. Now, most important thing we emphasize, because we've only got an hour, make sure you arrive on time. Otherwise, we're going to have to move on to the next driver. And that's exactly what's going to happen for Omar over here. So, Johnny, take us away. We'll start with you. And it's an interesting track we've got over here in the back.
Yeah. Where shall I start? So this is kind of a track that's very close to where I live. It's a track that I go to because the competition is a bit more varied, I would say. There are a couple of other tracks, but are very, very competitive with experienced drivers. So I felt to get started, I would go here. So I competed in one race here, came second last, but managed an overtake nevertheless. So that was quite good. And as you can see, I finally got some onboard footage, and using Race Chrono was able to get some deltas by sector and speed and G-force data. So I wanted to see where I might be able to improve my time on the track, because I can see there's other drivers who are getting below 49. I think the very best are getting just below 48.
Gotcha.
So
Is this,
one thing to
yeah.
note as well, sorry,
Yeah.
is that the register of when the lap finishes in race chrono is a little bit before the finish line on the actual track. So I think
Gotcha.
it's so that's the finish line, and then
Yeah.
just before the grid starts is where the register like starts and stops timing.
It's nice that you put this lap on. We're going to come back to that. We always like to start off with a bit of a track map analysis. And have you taken a look at this track on Google? Because you got a nice shot over here.
Yeah, I've had a look in the past. I've been to this track quite a bit, so I'm quite familiar with it.
Perfect.
I'm just trying to figure out where on the track exactly I can improve time, though there are a couple of sectors and parts of the track where I think that might be the case.
We'll just quickly break it down then. We basically got our first corner. It's in this direction, is that correct?
Yeah.
Through our first right-hander, weaving from right to left, back down to right. And we're coming towards, we can say, sector 2 now. We've got a long straight, actually, which starts our lap. We're coming into our hairpin section, or double right-hand sequence, if you like, into a resurface patch I saw over here now, based on your video.
I think it is resurfaced, yeah.
Yeah, slightly.
The corner is also resurfaced up here.
Into a double hairpin, a left and a right. And then we basically got our final sector. We can mark it over here. A long left into almost a right, left, right. So twisting combination, which brings us towards the end of the lap. So far, what are your, which are the corners or sectors which you're still trying to improve on?
So the first corner in the second sector, where the red starts. Yeah.
These
so
double rights. Cool.
The line you've drawn there is where I seem to get when I looked compared to other laps is where I seem to have improved the most. The S is pretty tricky because the first part of it, if
this
you go, no, the one before it, still in the red.
This
here,
over here.
Yeah. So the first turn is quite easy with the braking point because it's actually marked on the track.
Nice.
But then to carry the speed through into that second corner is quite difficult because it's then uphill. So you have to get the line really good there. And then I feel like I see some drivers follow the line you've gone, so they go straight up and then make a sharper turn into this longer curve. Then this kind of little S just before the last corner is quite tricky because you could go through at quite a lot of speed. But then I also realized that when I get a good exit from that last corner is when I also get the fastest times because you need a good exit speed to get speed on the straight, basically.
Cool. Let's try to review as much as we can. We'll start off with the double right hand sequence, and we'll bring you over to your lap. This was your fastest lap, right?
This was my fastest lap, yeah.
Awesome. Put it into slow motion. And what kind of camera angle is this? Helmet mount? Kart
it's
mount?
Very top of the helmet.
Right. Interesting. Because it doesn't look like that. Or maybe it's pointed slightly up. So I'm surprised. It looks almost like a nose cam, but you've definitely got an interesting angle there. The main thing is very, very clear. And we can see that through these corners. So if we go through the sequence in slow motion, I understand you're obviously carrying a lot of speed into the first part. We got a nice track map diagram on the top left, which you can identify. So carrying lots of speed on entry, which I assume means you're going to be going for a break coming up. Is there a specific braking point you're hitting on this corner?
I think just when the red and white ends, I hit the brakes a little bit, or sometimes I just lift and let myself go into the corner.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
So you played around it. Which one is smoother for you, lifting or braking?
I think if I lift, I go out on this kind of line that you see in the video. If I brake, I take a much tighter line around the corner. I have to review some of my other laps to see what times that would give.
Gotcha.
But it seems to be that I gained, as you can see on this lap, I gained time by doing that.
True. We got that delta there. That's a great point. In terms of specific concerns for this corner, this is a good attempt in terms of the line I can see. Normally, what happens through here? Do you feel maybe you're sliding a lot, or? using
No,
the revs?
on this particular lap, like I felt quite comfortable, and as I carried the speed through, it felt quite good.
I'd keep this up then. This is a nice sample of what you should be doing. Number one, the entry is really good. Maximizing the angle of the corner. Was it a brake on this lap, you think, or a lift?
Looking at the speed, I don't think I braked because there's not such a, or there might have been a very short brake because the speed doesn't vary too greatly going into the corner.
I think regardless of what you did, lift or brake, you did it early, which means early brake or early lift means you can get onto the gas earlier. You will have to obviously coast the kart for a period just for it to grip up, and then start laying the power back down, getting close to the inside apex there, which was nice. And more importantly, powering through this second part. It's important we try to match up the two corners in as straight line as possible. Coming over the resurface patch over here. Are you using the curb, I guess, over here? On the left?
I'm using the curb as much as I can without hitting the grass.
That's nice. Maximize track width. And then we're coming up to the double hairpin, basically. And it's got some elevation, you can tell. Currently at this corner, what's bothering you?
So the yellow line is kind of the defined breaking point. The circuit says one for safety, but also because of that's actually the breaking point of the fastest lap, according to them.
Okay.
So I start braking there. I saw another guy on the track on the same day. He was going quite long before turning.
Interesting.
So this lap particularly, I think I did it quite well because I did gain some time. So I didn't lose too much speed going in. I think I accelerated a little bit here. I stayed quite in the middle and then kept the accelerator down a little bit and got as close to that kind of tire to be able to then accelerate right through and maximize the track.
The second part then, it looks a lot tighter. Is this a lift or tap of the brake you're doing for this one?
So I really try not to brake there. I try to like lift before go into it, and then I think here I started accelerating ever so slightly to try, because if you're going too slow you'll be really struggling to go uphill here.
Gotcha. Just going back to the first part, the braking looks good. I mean, definitely well before the apex, which will always help you with your exit speed. The moment we brake a bit too late, then we're going to be later on the gas. Do you find that this is like a consistent spot for you? Like you're easily able to brake at the yellow? Have you experimented braking slightly later as well?
I haven't experimented braking slightly later, but I always pretty much brake on the yellow.
Yeah. And what about gas after the brake? Is that before the apex?
Yes. On this lap and on others, I was starting to put it either on or just before the apex. So here I was starting to accelerate again.
It's interesting because we want to have a good exit out the first part and then set up for the next part. What I would encourage you to do is stay off the brakes as much as possible, as you said, for the second part. Try and introduce a lift and sharp turn, as I've discussed with other drivers before. What the lift and sharp turn does, the moment you release your foot off the gas, we then go for a sharp turn in. And that pivots the kart to rotate nicely for us and a lot easier. What happens when we do that motion of lift and sharp turn? We load the outside tires with grip, and you'll feel it's a lot easier to direct the kart towards your apex. Now, what you want to try to achieve is as quick on the gas after that motion as possible. So lift, sharp turn, and then get onto the gas again. So it's a split-second period. You don't need to lift too much. In fact, if you lift a bit too much, then you might be losing a bit of time on entry. I'd try and incorporate that over here. Line-wise, looks good. I mean, I know we don't have the kart perspective of where you are to the apex, but this looks close enough. I think you're right on the limit.
Yeah.
Let's cover the final part then, and that's going to be our S. Now, I'm not sure how well it picked up on your track diagram over here. It certainly looks a lot sharper in real life when you drive it. But would you say this is the trickiest part of the track?
I'd say it's not super tricky, but maybe I am losing some time here because I would lift. I don't brake going into the section.
Yeah.
But every time I turn, you can hear the car. You can hear the tires squeak going through there.
That's a sign that you're on the limit of grip again in terms of speed that you're taking through there. So this first part, is this where the lift is, or it's flat through here still?
Take it back just a little bit.
Yep.
And then run it. I think just before the red and white is where I lived.
Interesting. Yeah. And you feel that darker patch is a lot grippier as well?
Definitely more grippy, yeah.
Yeah. So what you want to do is take advantage of that. I like how you're lifting before this patch, because what that's doing is slowing the kart down before. And as soon as you get onto that tarmac change, I assume you're now going to be back on the gas, applying gas over here.
Yeah, but then you've got kind of the little S which comes up. So this was what I was trying to figure out how to go about it, because that final corner, it's important to get a good exit.
It's basically here that we're looking, right? These 2 right-hand corners. I think this final corner, it's set up from before that resurface patch. So if you can get the entry right over here, I'd continue with the early lift, then try to accelerate. So what we're trying to do now is sacrifice time on entry by lifting, getting back on the gas now, and then attacking this mid-corner. What that will mean is probably going to end up going slightly wider on exit towards those curbs. Is that what's happening right now? You're heading slightly wider?
I end up going quite towards the tires that you see there.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that basically means you're maximizing the track, and then hug the left-hand side. So over here, we don't want any interest in going back towards the right yet, because what we're trying to do is go for a straight line between.
I just wanted to add.
Go for it, Saad.
The corner before, what if you just take it late? Like this one, if you just take it pretty late, then you'll exit out towards the middle instead of outside.
You could. That's an interesting point. So later turn in, maybe hit one of these tire barriers, you'd say?
Yeah, and then you just exit out towards the middle, and then you don't really have to go towards the right to take the second corner.
I'd definitely try that. Have you tried a later turn in or later lift there?
I haven't tried it, but it's I'll give it some thought, and next time I'm at the track, I'll give it a go.
And I think a nice reference to Saad's point over here will be the curb over here. Sort of follow the curb a bit longer. If you want to take a later apex, the moment we start looking too soon into the corner, we're naturally going to turn in early. So just follow the outside part.
And maybe even on entry, you could just have like 2 tires on the curb as well, and just take it a bit wide.
Yeah. Play with that. You know, those curbs look fresh. Have you tried to put a couple of wheels on this before?
I haven't. No, I've always tried pretty much the same line, but this is good to experiment with, definitely.
Based on Saad's point over there as well, that looks like you can extend the track limits by a fraction or so. So 2 wheels over there, play around with it. Later turning means you're going for then shorter path on exit. And what that'll hopefully do is give you momentum right over the portion on the left over here. And I assume this is all flat out now. That was the last time you were lifting.
Yeah, but then because this is quite a sharp turn onto the straight, I'm not sure exactly what is the best way to take it, whether to exit wide with speed or whether to try and take it short and then accelerate.
Right now, what are you doing?
I've tried both. I think on this lap, I went somewhere between the two actually on this lap. So
there was a lift, you feel, maybe somewhere here?
There was a lift here, and then as I went into the second part of the turn, I put my foot back down.
Gotcha. Play around with it. I feel if you're able to get, nice acceleration, let's say you took a late apex through here, you got that speed building up, try to carry that as much as possible through here. Don't disrupt it. And even if it means you've got to use a few more meters on exit over there to the left, play around with it. Maybe dedicate a whole session to trying that line and seeing consistently lap by lap what timings you're getting by just carrying more speed on entry, but then using a bit of track there. What we're balancing over here is the meters. Do we take a tighter line and turn more with less meters, or a wider line and a bit more speed, keeping our steering wheel relatively neutral through there? I think that's a solid bit of analysis and a couple of points you can hopefully take into your next session then, Johnny. When are you going to go to the track?
I'm trying to see when they've next got a sprint race. That might be it. But definitely, if there's not a sprint race at some point next month, hopefully I'll be back down there.
Absolutely. We're looking forward to some footage. Hopefully you can give us some feedback on how the new lines work.
Yeah, thank you so much, Omar. With the camera angle as well.
Yes.
It's not a GoPro or anything. It's a relatively cheap camera. I think it still gets a good view, but I see the GoPros have got much more stabilization and a greater field of view. So to get started, this helps, but maybe as I progress.
Yeah, definitely. And I think if you're able to get, maybe it's the angle or whatever, but a bit of the footwork in, maybe your steering wheel as well, in shot, that probably is to do the field of view, the FOV. Maybe GoPro has a much wider one. That's why, the shots that you see on other cameras show all that. But if you're able to somehow get that, even with this camera, because I'm sure it's just about the angle, that'll be great for analysis.
I have to with this camera, since I have to choose between seeing the track or seeing just my field.
Okay, it's like that. We prefer to see the track then.
Definitely.
I think that'll be better. It's a pleasure. Likewise, John. It's an absolute pleasure. We'll just take a couple of comments on Instagram and YouTube before we move on. We had Nadim. He's asking, how do we join the session? Type in on Google KTips Academy. Once I admit you in, it's free to join, number one. You're going to have access to this weekly track help on Sunday. You can obviously head over to the Introduce Yourself tab and meet a whole host of people from all over the world. Just in this last week, we had Julia from Poland, Isma from the States, Robert from the UK, Amin from Azerbaijan, all telling their story about karting and how they're progressing. More importantly, take a look at our karting assistant. So we have a fitness coach. You can ask fitness and diet related questions, and the assistant will actually answer any of your karting related questions instantly. So KTips Academy is the place to be. Be sure to send a submission to join. It's free, and I'll admit you in. We had Raul join. What's up, Raul? Yes, we raced in QKC, and we're looking forward to the next round of the championship, which is next week, hopefully. Just take a look on YouTube. Looks like we've cleared all those out. Welcome, Saad. It's nice to catch up virtually again. We were just racing a few weeks ago at Al Furzan track and Kart Drop.
I did the regionals as well. But
How was the regionals?
It was good. It was very early in the morning, and I reached a bit late, so I missed out on qualifying by like 2 minutes.
Wow! What time was it that they ran it at?
It was at like 8:30.
Oh wow! What was the weather like then? For
very, very hot.
Yeah, I can imagine. And was it like juniors, then seniors, juniors, seniors?
Yeah,
were alternating. Overall, what was the performance like throughout the event?
I mean, I didn't have a tinted visor, so it was pretty annoying. But overall, it was good. I spun out a couple times, but I got some good overtakes. I started from the back, so there was no point.
Oh, right.
I ended up finishing in 22nd.
Okay.
Out of 30-something people. So
that's a modest effort, and especially on a competition like this. I saw all of the top drivers also come through. Kyle Kumaran, he doesn't normally come SWS, but he came for this race.
Yeah.
And so many other drivers. I mean, just to give the viewers an understanding, Saudi World Series, they run at tracks who have Saudi carts. And because UAE are very, very established with them, they gave them a ticket for a regional. So, Saad, what was this competition? What was the incentive? What did the winners get?
So last year it was the top two. They get a ticket. They get an invite to the World Finals. This year it was only first place.
I was only first place. Gotcha.
Yeah.
So one shot opportunity, ticket to the World Finals. You can't get any better than that. And I think this is one of the best championships to join if you're just in rental karting, right? So go to your local track. If they have Saudi carts, they most likely run these Saudi World Series races. And then you have a national ranking. At the end of the year, if you got, I think, top 2 or top 3 in your country, then you can go to the World Finals and represent. It's a very budget-friendly way of doing some, professional karting. Saad, was there anything you wanted to discuss? Any footage in particular? Or were you just hopping in?
I was going to ask if we do have time towards the end, could we
Yeah.
review your footage of first on?
Absolutely, why not? Why not? And
sure.
there's a video posted today talking through the race, the key points, what I was thinking. But in terms of a better breakdown, definitely, if we got time today, then we can do it. Brent on YouTube is asking, can you review my footage? Of course I can. Join the KTips Academy for free, send a request. And then we got these sessions every Sunday, 6 p.m. GMT. So you can put your submission in, and then you can go through a breakdown with me. What we're going to do is move on to, let's just share my screen. And I believe it's going to have to be Marcel who's here. Before we go to Marcel, I'm going to load up your footage. What's up to Nathaniel? Welcome back, Nathaniel. Hope you can hear me.
Yeah, thank you.
Nathaniel, I received your submission, although it was a bit last minute.
Yeah. I
If
just
we
had
got
a
time-
question. If we have time, then just like if we could go through the footage. But I just have a really quick question.
Go for it. Absolutely. Because I know you had a question.
Yeah, should I ask it now? Or?
Yeah, go for it.
It was just like quite a general question because I was looking to buy a rib protector because now I might do a Fiona Kart and Club 100. So I was wondering if there's any brand that's like specifically you would recommend or.
Yeah, great question. I'm going to give my recommendations, and then anyone on the chat over here, on the live call, be sure to give your opinions because I'm sure everyone has some experience with that. Let me just share my entire screen actually. So what I'll do, rather than going to the shop, I'll go for my preferred one. And there's a couple from Bengio. I found they're really, really decent. It's this one. I'm not sure what the model number is, but this is the design. This is the one I've currently got. It's very, very durable. And although it's a bit more pricey than the normal ones, you definitely get that comfort aspect and protection more than anything. If you really got a big budget, go for the AB7. I know drivers who have got this. This is like front, sides, back, everything. They do price this quite high. Oops, sorry. I don't think you can see my screen, right?
Yeah, because.
Sorry. My current rib protector is this Bengio one, and it was probably best bang for buck. It's slightly higher than the entry-level ones, but it gives great all-round protection. If you've really got some cash to spend, go for one of these AB7, top of the line, perfect for protection. And yeah, one thing I would be careful of, because initially I went for the cheapest rib protector, and this is the cheapest one I could find at the time. It's really, really not comfortable, this one. And yeah, in my experience, it didn't really do the job. Anyone else over here have recommendations for rib protectors on the meet?
I'm thinking of getting the one you showed, the one with the front.
AB7.
Yeah, I currently have the one you have. It's just for owner cards. I feel like that's just safer, and I think I got the wrong size for mine.
Okay. Oh, that's a good point, Nathaniel. Make sure you try to get the right size, or see in person. I'm sure you've got access to some kart shops.
Yes.
You'd go with Bengio then, Saad?
Yeah.
Perfect.
I've seen everyone else use it, but it's up to it's up to you. If it's comfortable, you could just try them out. Whichever one's more comfortable for you, just get that.
Anyone else before we move on? Recommendations for protectors? No worries. Hope that answers your question then, Nathaniel.
Can I just ask one thing? I was looking at Tillet P1 and it's like £320. I wasn't sure.
Yeah, Tillet. That's I mean, I've never tried it, but I think it's similar to Bengio. I've seen a couple of drivers wear it, but from my experience, I can't say good or bad.
All right, yeah. And you put it under your suit or over? I'm not sure. I've seen.
That's also a good question. You see, ideally you should put it under your suit. Just that's the going thing in karting. If you look at world championships and all, top drivers wear it under their suit. Now, there's no shame in wearing it outside of your suit. The reason I like to wear it outside is if I'm wearing an undertop or a t-shirt under my suit, and I put the rib protector over that, zip up my suit, Once I start sweating, all of that sweat accumulates in the chest area and rib area. So yeah, it's if you're doing like an endurance race or something, it becomes quite uncomfortable. Now the problem with wearing it outside, especially the Bengio one, which I've got, is this direct contact with the kart seat and the rib protector. So normally if you wear it under, it's your suit and then the kart seat, which have that contact, direct contact. So that Bengio rib protector I've got is like really, plastic is sort of damaged on the outsides because obviously all the leaning and stuff. And yeah, it doesn't look brand new. So that's the risk. At the end of the day, the way I see it, if it's protecting me in a crash, who cares how it looks, kind of thing. But I just prefer it wearing it outside.
Yeah, all right. Thank you for that. Thank you.
No, I hope you're still here, Marcel. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I'm here.
Amazing. There's a number of clips you put over here, and talk me through it.
Basically, it doesn't matter which round you take. This is the race layout of Eve. The karting club had a practice session in the afternoon, so all sessions in the morning were packed with children, duo cars, everything. So it was really terrible. I had a discussion with one guy. He hit me and he blamed me, so that's really cool. And the karting club Eve rented the whole track on Sunday for races.
Yeah.
So that's basically it. They cut off some corners, and it's really fast.
I can tell. First of all, I mean, it'll be worth actually looking at the track map. I'm just downloading in the background, but how much faster was your timing on this layout?
At least 8/10 of the normal track.
Yeah, that's impressive. What I'll do is just put my full share screen on so we can see what Marcel is driving, and this is basically your race layout. Yeah, this is what
this is the race layout. Yes, it is.
So we have the long main straight into the first couple. Long main straight up here into double right, and then we've obviously got the two hairpins. Did you share some footage of this before? This looks very familiar. That's why. Or is it the first time you're? Might have been a different track, but this layout looks very, very familiar. Overall, we've got a couple of new corners. Which ones were still catching you out, or were you okay with everything?
No, the biggest problem is the hairpin starting in the blue. I tried to make some sectors because it's not a default hairpin, because the turn is longer because of the little left-right-ish thing in it. But you can see on the footage what I mean.
Absolutely, we'll go towards
and in the last heat, I made an adjustment on the last corner. This is the last corner is come up.
Yep.
I didn't hit the rumble here, so I didn't make it wide, and I did make it wide, and I gained 4/10 with that only.
Wow. So the line with more meters, but maybe less turning, is faster.
So this is the second hairpin coming up, the difficult one. I missed totally the apex here. It was a really terrible heat, so a lot of improvements on that one.
Where was the fastest lap, you think, in this heat?
I think it was the last lap.
I think most likely because there was just a lot of traffic. I mean, speaking of traffic, double-seater carts getting in the way. This is a proper family day, huh? They were really putting the.
This is the incident. And he was.
He was upset. At this. Okay, right. I think we should start with that then.
He said, I was not allowed because I'm old on the track, because it was for children only.
Whoa,
so I said,
wild.
You're a total something.
Yeah. Well, you got to be frank with him. I mean, here I see, look, you got.
He was pissed. He was really pissed. So
I can't believe it.
And I didn't do anything wrong. I was in the corner before, already next to him. He saw me.
Correct. Which was where? Over here?
Yeah. So I almost
You're clearly
overtook here.
alongside over here. Surely it's cut off on the camera, but he can see you in his blind spot. Like
No, he looked at me. He looked.
He
really
looked at yeah.
Yeah.
So he knows you're there.
Yeah.
Then you think, hold on, he's not cutting across too much, but he's leaving a gap. Like this is a gap, fair gap, you know.
This is good. If he goes to the right side and I'm staying on the left, what?
Can that kid control the cart? You think it's him?
No, it's fake. No, it's fake.
Right. I thought so. So definitely here, he squeezed you onto the curb, and then look, he's turned it completely. I would say you are totally in your right to go for that move. And did you just end up passing? I think you passed him around the outside over here. Yeah. So if we watch,
he was really slow, but that doesn't matter that he's slow. But okay,
yeah,
doesn't matter.
It's one of those. Don't stress too much.
Yeah.
And you know, keep doing what you're doing. I don't think you did anything wrong there.
This time not. Last time I did.
Let's take a clear example of one of the hairpins. Well, the hairpin. Is this one coming up over here? And right now, what was causing you problems through this corner?
The first heat I needed adaptation of the layout. I know because I tend to go to the right now because that's the normal track, and I'm not that racy in my head enough. So maybe capacity of my brain isn't built for really good racing, but.
No.
I was disturbed the first lap. The first heat, sorry.
The new layout always, throws up a surprise. At our local track, when they do new layouts, it's always a learning process. The first, few sessions. For this kind of hairpin turn, though, we can identify that it's not too tight, but it's obviously a corner which requires probably a tap of the brake. I can notice that's what you're going for over here. And talk me through this approach you're doing with the early brake, I guess just before this patch.
Yeah, I use that patch normally as well.
Yeah,
but because of the corner, I purposely didn't hit the curb because I need. Normally I do hit the curb because it's a right-hander afterwards. But I purposely I avoid it because it will upset my corner, so I need a little bit wider.
Leave that distance, you're saying, over here.
Yeah, I tried a late apex, but that didn't work at all. Because of that little bit to the left after that.
Yeah, I think it's a valid point. You're saying if you take too much of the curb, it unsettles you. In terms of distance, though, you don't feel that maybe going up to the white line could have helped. At least to just reduce some meters, gain some time like that.
Yeah, my son had heat 2 and 3 the GoPro, and he really did it well. He just kissed the curb and he smashed everyone's time.
That'll be nice to see after this, hopefully.
Fun fact: I was faster the first heat.
Oh wow! Okay.
It was really held up everywhere.
Too much traffic. Basically.
Yeah, too much traffic. Yeah, 18 guys on 530-meter track. That's way too much.
That is a lot. Here, I feel you are forced to take that tighter line because there's a drive on the outside, and you can see what that looks like coming up to pretty much the white line. Now, of course, the approach. I think this would have been overall slower because number one, you had to brake more and turn in more. I think for next time, if you ever take a layout like this. Do you feel you could take this corner without brake, just a lift, maybe?
Maybe with a slip angle, I reduce my speed enough to do this. What I normally I do depends on grip, of course. Normally I do a little brake on the patch on the right, or I do a slip angle, and the slip angle is in grippy situations the fastest.
Yeah. I think that can be the next thing for you because. Really here, it's not a heavy brake. It's pretty much a tap from what I can see on your laps. And, try to play around with slip angles. Can you use more of it? And of course, going back to that point we made with Johnny earlier today about the lift and turn. So if you're able to lift off the gas and go for that sharp turn, pivots the kart to rotate nicely for the corner. And what you'll find is you get a whole, a amount of rotation, a big boost. So you'll feel inclined to, counter steer or correct that mini slide, which you'll get by that aggressive approach. I'd try that.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Can you compare it with the next hairpin, which is coming after this? Because
that'll be nice.
I hit that almost every time the same way, a little bit close to the grass and then over the rumble.
Let's go for it over here. So basically, this is a right-hand hairpin this time. Tap of the brake you saw there. This time using, that.
And that was really fast.
That was really. Almost, I thought this was really good. This was almost, on the limit. You can see picking up a slight bit of dust as well because of how much of the track limits you were pushing there. Watch that left foot in relation to the apex, nice and early. Already completed your braking. You've now released your foot off the brakes and you're laying that power back down. More importantly, you're able to get rotation. Look how the kart's getting towards the desired apex point. And then this is all, gas, building up that speed. Did you feel this was the quickest approach to the second hairpin?
Absolutely, yeah. That was my best corner of the day.
Similar to the normal layout, right? When you take this right-hand corner.
Yeah, but the speed is a bit lower because normally we have a bit more straight on it. So
yeah, and normally you take the rumble anyway on the normal layout.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So you want to mirror that basically, and you did a great job over here. The difference is rumbles versus the curb. So here you're able to cut across, whereas earlier maybe that even a touch of the curb unsettles and slows you down, which is
it's a bit of a bank on that curb. So that's if I'm too high, I'm going on the grass on the other side.
You can see that. Next time, don't worry about this second hairpin. I just go a bit more aggressive. Let's try and replace the braking for a lift. You will note, you'll have to note that the lift, may have to be for some time. It's not a very quick lift. Otherwise, you'll probably find yourself going too fast or sliding a bit too much. So moderate lift, include that turn, and then try to use a high amount of slip angle. Any other questions, Marcel?
Maybe just for you or the other guys and girls, sorry. The short of the how do you say it? Karting club. They are practicing.
The first clip.
It's only 17 seconds, so that's not too much, I hope.
So this is the first time I've actually seen.
It's outside with my phone.
So I'm trying. There's some 4 strokes just by the sounds of it. I think it's just a mix.
It's really a mix. Yeah. They're practicing for the Sunday races.
Amazing.
Juniors, Rotex, shifters even.
Those
are fast. Holy moly.
So I think you've got to chat with one of the teams and do some laps. What do you say?
I'm afraid not. I'm way too heavy for those things.
No, you'll enjoy the shifters.
They don't trust me. Really, really cool to see.
Well, many years ago, I'm sure it was a young Nico Hulkenberg who was doing just that.
Oh, absolutely.
This track. So maybe we're seeing a future driver there. Thank you so much, Marcel. We're gonna have to move on to
no worries. I'm off to YouTube.
It's always a pleasure. We're going to take a comment from Brent. So Brent, why don't I share my screen to answer his question? That'll be easier. Where do I submit? So as soon as you come onto the Academy landing page, there's going to be a pinned comment. Every Sunday, there's going to be a post like this. So after today's session, you'll see next week's post. And then just put a description like Johnny's done over here. He's put a YouTube link and he's put his question in, as has Marcel and etc. It looks like, because we've only got 15 minutes left today, we're going to round off with Philip. But let's just say hi to the new drivers who've joined. So we've had Rowan join. Welcome back, Rowan. How have you been? Hope you can hear us. If you got a mic, just unmute. Okay, Rowan might not be there. What's up, Nadeem? I recognize you from Instagram.
Oh yeah, hi.
Welcome, Nadeem. Where are you joining us from?
From my bed right now in Dubai.
I was gonna say the profile pic looks like, is that Rack Track?
Rack track.
Rack Track. I was just there a few weeks ago, a couple of weeks ago, and no, it's one of the most, I'd say, exciting tracks. It's old school. It's the hub, the heart of Miami. Do you race Miami there?
Yeah. I just started. I did the summer series just now, and I'm gonna start next season. Like
Super.
into a full season.
Are you part of a team?
Yeah, AK.
AK, okay, excellent. You're in safe hands then.
Yeah.
You've got some good coaches, some good mechanics, and no, I think you'll have a good debut season. I'm sure it's the first season, right? You'll do Miami properly next year.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Senior.
Any questions? Any footage you had to for today's track help session, or are you just watching?
No, I'm just watching.
Super. Well, as I explained to Brent and others, if you do have something in the future, there'll be a pinned comment like this, and then just leave a link to your footage and a quick description, and we can hopefully go through it, in the future. Also, be sure to check out the karting assistants from the fitness coach to the assistant who'll answer your questions. That's all free to use. What we're going to do is move on to Philip. Philip, are you still there?
Yes, I'm here.
Superb. Now, Philip, I obviously know you from our KTips Karting League, the Gran Turismo series we've been hosting for a couple of months now. And when you told me that, no, you do karting also in real life, I was like, I got to see you driving. And here we go. This is Philip Senna driving in real life, we can say. So, which country is this? Is this in Sweden?
Yeah, it's south of Sweden.
Amazing. And it's your local track?
Yes.
So how often do you drive here? Because I know you do road tax, but this is in rentals. How often do you do rentals?
Well, there is a race every month, so I come here like 2 times a month, I would say, 1 or 2.
I'd always encourage anyone who's in owner karts to participate in some kind of a rental car competition here and there. I also do the same. Although I drive road tax senior, I try to do as many rental competitions as possible, just because it's one of the purest ways to compete. You have the lottery with the kart draw. A lot of competitions I do, you get a different car for quali, you do a different car for race 1, race 2. And it's really then down to the driver and your racecraft, how you can adapt in the different situations. Sometimes you might not get a good car in quali, and you'll be towards the back of the grid. But then you'll have a fast car for the race, and then you can really work your way through the pack. So it's always exciting. And of course, there's the added part of the weight limit. So albeit in rentals, the weight limit is a lot high. In your competitions in Sweden, do they have like an 85 kilo limit, 75 kilowatts?
Yeah, it's 85 kilos. So I'm like 55 kilos. So I have to be like max weight. So
No, that's really going to hurt your driving. I know from experience. When I used to be 55, the first ever race I did, where I had to put 30 kilos of ballast, I was lost. And it was a humbling experience, because you just can't cope with that amount of understeer, number one, because the kart is very, very imbalanced, and it's difficult. So
I train with weights. So when I come here, I put on the weight so I can train, because when I come here before, like without training with weights, I was like almost lost. So with training with the weights helped a lot.
I would keep that up. That's a really, really good mindset to have, because at the end of the day, might as well try to simulate competition format. And if it's going to be with weights, then in practice you try to figure out all the different lines, the different ways you can adapt around it. Currently, the footage you're watching is obviously one of your fastest laps. You did say you're looking for specific improvements, and before we do that, why don't we just look at your track map? Actually, we'll bring it up over here. When was this footage recorded? Was that recently?
Yeah, it was last week's race on Tuesdays.
Excellent. I'm just trying to find our track. I think it's this one, right? Amazing. So this one I assume on the side. Perfect.
Yeah.
What we've got over here, it's important to break our track down into different sectors. I assume you start from this part of the track into our first corner, the fast right.
Yes.
We then come into turn 2, which is a even tighter hairpin style corner. And you can see the rubbered in line from the aerial shot, fast left. Coming towards the end of sector 1 into sector 2, we can call it. Even tighter hairpin this time. Almost a V shape, that one. Coming after a short straight into a right-hand hairpin. Back down into a left. You could even say that's a double hairpin of some sort. A lot of distance between the two. And we're coming towards sector 3 now, long right. Where I currently am, it's all flat out, I assume?
Yes, yes.
Flat,
even with
flat,
the road tax, yeah.
Even with the road tax, that must be really high speed then. Wow.
Yes.
Final sector, long right-hand corner. And then we've got the left into mini S, a wiggle there towards the end before a fast lap. What type of lap times are you doing in the road tax?
50. My best lap in the road tax are like 56, but the best because I only driven like one time.
Gotcha.
And I'm 2 seconds off or 2.5 seconds off the best time with the road tax.
Yeah. Well,
so
practice. I think is how you're going to get there. Specifically today, which corners in particular? Let's pick 1 or 2 corners because we don't have much time.
The second corner I could break a lot later. And then the second sector, the beginning of the second sector, yeah.
This left-hand corner, yeah?
Yes, and also the double hairpin.
And the double hairpin. Perfect. Let's take a look at that. I think that's going to be quite intriguing. If we go to, it's good to look at your fastest lap because you can see, number one, how well you did. And then based on that, we can search for some improvements. So basically, yeah, this is the start of the lap. Let's just look at the point you were talking about for the braking of turn 2. So past turn 1 over here. Flat through turn 1?
Yes.
Almost mini right. And then we come down into, turn 2 over here. Just watch your left foot. It's a nice perspective we get. You felt that you could have braked maybe a bit later or earlier?
No, late, definitely later. But
Slightly later, I think.
Yeah.
Currently, you're driving with 30 kilos of weight as well. I think that definitely, explains excessive steering angle, number one. What you'll find is the more weights you add. The weights are over here, right, on the left side.
No, it's on the back.
Back but left, right?
No, it's on the back behind me.
Completely behind you. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. That's interesting. Yeah. So let's say this is my cart. It's going to be here. First time I've seen that. A lot of the times you'll see carts, have it on the opposite side of the engine. Now on the back, wow. In terms of weight distribution, that really messes things up. I assume the engine is on the right side then?
Yes, it is.
So this left side is going to be completely, imbalanced. There's not much weight on the left.
No.
That's interesting. Turn 1, I like your line. Great approach. Braking is fine as well, because the most important thing is you've done your braking, you've released before this apex, and you're able to then get back onto the gas whilst closing the distance to the apex, keeping it nice and close. What we do over here is come towards the left-hand corner, and I believe it's the V which is coming up now. This is a very, very tight corner, the start of sector 2, we can say. That is a sausage curb that we can see. And what's the line that the fast guys are doing? Are they jumping it? Are they just avoiding it? What's the approach?
I don't really know because I don't see them that often, but when I take it, I think when I take the curb too much, I end on the exit like almost on the grass there, and then it's hard to turn to the left before the double hairpin. So yeah.
Right now, where's the braking for this corner? Is it on feeling? You're pretty much doing the brakes?
No, I mean I brake a bit later because you can almost see
This sign on the left side, yeah?
No,
Or this board?
See like rubber or something.
Somewhere down here or this patch?
No, somewhere a bit later.
Gotcha.
Yeah, like here almost.
Towards that white line which is sticking out, maybe another patch on the track. That's interesting because this kind of corner we saw on the track map is just so tight. So the key in rentals, I'd say, is how quickly can we get on the brakes to slow it down enough, and then how quickly can we get back onto the gas. And yeah, it's the big, difference between lines will be about how much curb you actually take on the inside. I know on some tracks when they have this style of curb, some drivers like to turn in early and they like to jump it. You mentioned though, when you take a bit too much of the curb, you can get thrown off too far wide. So right now, is your approach just to hit the first part, I guess? Because you're taking some curb, especially on this lap, or you're trying to avoid it. What's your idea?
Yeah, I mean, I try to not take it too much because then, I lose a lot of time. So not too much, but still some curb.
For this corner, honestly, I'd just focus on how can I maximize my exit speed, right?
Yeah.
So I wouldn't worry about braking, too late. It's about early brake, early gas through here, and then as less disruption as possible. If the curb, too much curb is disrupting you, then we leave it. Now we obviously got the double hairpin. It's a wide couple of corners. You can see a bit of entry on the first part of the hairpin, and then it's long and widening towards the second part. Let's just watch your line through here. Wide entry. Is it another tap of the brake? I'm just watching your left foot again.
No. It's almost, I mean, if you take it flat out, it's just too understeery. So I try to lift a little bit of the gas pedal and try to get less understeer.
That's really good. I really like this approach over here. So maximize the entry, make the corner wide. Is it lift and turn you're doing at the same time? Pretty much? Yeah.
Yeah, I would say.
Lift and turn, fixed amount of steering angle. Again, you're going to get understeer. Try to counter that as much as possible. Getting towards that inside apex. The line, that looks good for the first part. So what you're doing is not going off too far wide to the left because you need to set up for the next corner. But I think this turning is enough to then get towards the later part of the corner. So what you'll notice is you're not going too early. It's important to, skip this early part of the corner. And then where the second part of the curb starts, feel free to go towards that. That's nice. Keep that up. That looks good. Second part of the hairpin, which is always the more difficult part. And this looks like it's a slight lift again, or is it flat?
No, flat. I mean, if I go too much to the curb, I lose a lot of time because it's bikes, and on the exit curbs, when I touch it once, I spun out immediately. So I try to not touch that.
Yeah, interesting curbs over here. It looks like some which you just don't want to touch. And some tracks are just very strict with their track limits. So this is a clear example of that. Overall, with your line, the number one, the fact is you're taking it flat out is good. So you're maximizing the speed. Are you using a lot of your body weight? Are you leaning a lot in this corner?
Well, not in this corner. I can try to do that next time because it would help, I think.
I think it can help, especially when you're trying to go flat out, loading the outside tires with a bit more grip. And, it can help you keep your steering wheels quite neutral when you take that turn. Overall, though, line-wise, looks good. Have you experimented a slightly tighter approach? So I'm not saying all the way over here on the yellow line, maybe like a kart length tighter.
No, I always go to the
to the outside,
widest. Yeah.
It could be something to try. It might be faster, it might be slower. The reason being is, so for the first hairpin, we're going for a slight lift where my dotted line is, and then we're back onto the accelerator like that. So do we have to go all the way back out wide? Maybe we should, because of the distance we got from here to here. But you could try next time is maybe a slightly tighter approach, just to save some meters. And because these karts have low horsepower, you should be able to take a similar line and keep the momentum quite similar as well. Play around with that. That's all I'd say for the second hairpin. When are you going to the track next then?
I mean, maybe next week on Saturday with my dad, so we can train. But on the second hairpin, there in the second sector, I could maybe try to, like, with my body weight, lean to the outside, and even on the with the
generally that's something you can try and add to your driving, especially in these 4 strokes, and the fact that you're driving with weights. Try and add in some leaning. I think you'll help your overall style.
Yeah.
Was there anything else, Philip? Because we're gonna have to round off. We've just gone over our time now.
No, I don't think. No.
It's always a pleasure, Philip. We've got a question from Rowan. What's up, Rowan?
Philip, you should try different seat position, because I noticed your knees were really high. You should maybe try putting your seat back a bit, because I did that and I gained a lot of time.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, thank you.
Play around with it. Weight distribution wise, definitely where you set your seat can make a difference. What we're going to do, guys, is round off for today's session. Let's round off with a couple of comments. Dr. Mans on Instagram is asking, what's your approach when you want to gain a second or two better in your lap time? Would it be to try to go more aggressive with braking? Well, what you could try to do, it's subjective really to your track. Now, the best way to identify how you can gain time is see which corners you're doing well at, which corners are really bugging you. Similar to on track help over here. We ask the drivers which corners are still giving you a hard time. And there'll be a certain approach, which you can improve through that. Let's say it's a hairpin turn, and maybe you find yourself sliding too much through that hairpin. Sliding or overdriving is a sign of, not braking enough. So maybe on a hairpin like that, you should be a bit more conservative. In terms of then shifting your braking point, making it more aggressive, well, that's where we move from the traditional, fundamental approach, which is, where you set your markers and brake at this point, which helps you initially, to then braking on feeling. And that's what a lot of the top drivers do is kart to kart, they're going to adjust their braking points based on, where they feel the limit is. So sometimes, the reference point can help, with gauging distance and all towards apex. But other times you just got to, feel, okay, maybe a fraction or two late, I can get on the brakes. And maybe that can help. Brent finally is asking on YouTube, so it's better to brake early to get better exit speed or brake late? In rental karts, because you need to keep your revs high, it's always better to prioritize better exit speed, right? So early braking can help with that. In professional karts, like road taxis we've seen earlier today, that you can go a bit later on your brakes, actually gain time under braking, and then benefit from the added power that you got. We're going to round off with 2 more questions. We'll start with Saad.
I also wanted to add one thing I figured out this year was spending less time on the brakes, because I was braking hard and I was braking for too long.
Yeah.
So my revs would just drop. And also focusing on one corner at a time instead of trying to fix multiple. So just perfect one corner and then piecing it all together really helps your lap time.
That's some really, really good points there. You can memorize an entire track guide, but implementing it, one by one is probably going to be the best approach. Ghost Beats, you got a question?
Yeah, I don't remember. So I was late, but I don't know if you watched my video.
No worries. Which person did you submit it under? What name did you put on the academy? I'll just bring up my share screen over here.
It was video of a karting video with the name.
Did you put a comment in? Are you Amin, maybe?
Yeah, it was a comment.
It's you, I mean, over here. Unfortunately, we don't have time right now to go through it. And as I mentioned, whenever you don't worry, whenever you submit your footage, make sure you arrive on time. Otherwise, we have to move on to the next driver. What I'm going to do is put out a post for next week, again, on the Academy after the session. So put your comment there, first submit, first review order, come on time, and then we can have a look at it next week, yeah?
If I was close that, can I just watch the video record?
No, if you want me to analyze it, then you got to join live, just like everyone's done over here today. Otherwise, you can watch the replay just casually if you like on YouTube. There'll be a replay, but we won't be reviewing your footage. We're gonna have to round off, guys. I'm afraid we're running out of time. Are there a couple more questions from? I believe Philip's got your hand up and Saad as well.
Yeah, I have a question about my video. Like on the V turn, like on first hairpin, I could like try to brake hard and steer like much to the inside, to the left, and then power on earlier than I do.
Yeah, like we discussed for that corner, and like we mentioned to Brent over here, that'll be a good approach for you. Just because the driving style for 4-stroke karts and then the 2 strokes which you did in Rotax, slightly different on the brakes.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
No worries at all. I'm afraid that's all that we have time for today, guys. Until next week at 6 p.m. GMT, we look forward to seeing you all then. Stay tuned for next week's post for track help on the KTips Academy. First submit, first review order. Take care, everyone. Good night.
Thank you. Good night.